welcome back to another episode of Melanin Meetings. Listen, grab a beverage, grab a snack, because we have another very interesting topic for you today. I see Crystal is ready with her Melanin Meeting mug there. She is all set for the discussion. She looks like she's doing a commercial. I don't know what's going on there, but that's Crystal. So get ready for another interesting topic, as I was saying there. So yeah, let's get right into it. So hello, Genesis and Crystal. I didn't see you there, Crystal. Hi, how are you?
And girl, so, you know you saw me.
Loving the hat today, girl. Loving the hat.
Thank you.
Everyone is looking fine.
I'm telling you. So, ladies, I guess the question is, are you ladies ready to discuss this topic? I know I am.
Do it.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
Let's get right into it. So, today's topic is marriage is the ultimate goal. So, I'm just going to throw that statement right out there. So, we're going to go straight in with Genesis. Genesis, what are your view on that? I feel like today, in our day, and I'm not just going to restrict to, our culture or African, as we are all Africans here, but in a lot of culture, I feel like marriage is seen highly upon. It's put on a high pedestal, and everybody is like, if you can be, for example, and again, a lot of pressure is put on women, that you can be a woman, you can have a degree, you can have a master's degree, you can have a PhD, whatever qualification that you might have. But at the end, they'll ask you, when are you getting married? It's as if they will disregard all the achievements that you have in life, and that marriage is the ultimate goal. So Genesis, what would you say on that?
It's shocking, but it's sad as well. And it's not even that they may disregard, they do disregard everything that you've done beforehand. Like, for example, for me, I've was lucky enough to go to university, got my degree. I was able to get a diploma to specialize in event planning because that's what I wanted to do. Did all the training that I need to get done, and then started up my business. And for me, that's something that doesn't even get discussed in my family. Like my siblings, yes, but like in terms of parents, aunties, uncles, no, for them, it's like, back then when I was in university, it was about me getting married. That was the next step, and not the next step because it was logical, but the next step because that was the goal. That's what you had to achieve, was to get married. I don't know if you ladies heard this, but I was even told at some stage that I can't study too hard because I'm going to end up being smarter than, I can't be smarter than my husband. And I was just like, what? Make it make sense, It just didn't. So yeah, I don't understand why, but I know for women, but I have noticed for men now as well, that marriage is starting to become that ultimate goal. Like, for example, if a man hits a certain age, it's like, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Why aren't you settling down? But it's like, can I not focus on other stuff that I want to do first? For some men, they want to have the stability of having a stable job. They want to have their own place. They want to achieve a couple of things first before they want to settle down. And I think that's great that they're thinking that way as well, because let's be honest, you get married, it comes with a lot of responsibilities as well. Yes, so you need to be able to take care of those responsibilities. And if you feel for you to do that, you need to, get that settled job, get your own place, then by all means do it. But there's just way too much pressure on marriage being the ultimate goal. Like, what about those people who don't want to get married? What can we say then?
I was going to say that, Jen. Sorry for cutting in there. And again, we can say, like, us ladies here, we always go back to saying that we are Christians. And of course, in the Bible, then marriage is a divine institution, but there are people who are not Christians. There are people who have different views to us. And regardless whether you're a Christian or not, whatever religion, at the end of the day, marriage is a choice. And some people may choose not to get married. And whether you understand or you agree with it or not, we need to respect that some people just don't want to get married. So yeah, go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
No, that's pretty much it. Like, I just don't understand the phenomenon. I don't agree with the phenomenon. And I'm totally against it. I've said it.
Thank you, Jen. And that's on period. Crystal, what are your views?
Well,
here we go.
No, what Jen said is exactly what I went through as well in regards to when you're going to get married. Just like Jen, I had the chance to go to university. I came over here to the UK to do that. Got my degree. I was going to go ahead and do my master's. Both things happened along the way. But I didn't even finish uni yet. And it was already, you know, like sabi sa mobilité, you know, was that a proposante, that those aussi Lisa, you know, after finishing, you're expected that, you know, marriage is the next step. And for me, necessarily, it wasn't, you know, but obviously, my thoughts or what I want for myself may not be what God's plan is. So God's plan was something else, of course. But it did come with a lot of pressure. Like, just like Jen, as she was told that she can't be smarter than a man, I heard, when I mentioned to a few of my cantina biso that I want to go on and do my master's, the exact response I got was, "Kotanga ebele po na mo si pesabiente." As in, kotanga tanga trop pesabiente po talaga ka nalibala simba te vraiment yo zala maele po ka mobile. That's exactly what I had gotten as well. And for me, I found that so ridiculous. Like, I said to myself, obviously I got married and I said, okay, I'm going to do my master's when I get married. I think it was the same with Jen because we did have this conversation, and it was shunned upon. It was like, why are you going to go into marriage and study? But no, linga. Like, when is a so priority? So bali ekomi karamu bali na bali ne komi priority. You know, as Jen said, they forget everything that you did prior to that. Like, before I got married, I did finish my degree. I didn't go on to do my master's straight away because I got a good job in the degree field. So, with a well-known aviation company. So I was really comfortable with the job that I had. I was blessed to get my role earlier on than having to do my master's. So it's like, it's not just the fact that, it's not just marriage. Marriage is not my only achievement. It's not the biggest achievement. But na culture na biso ba komisa mo bongo. Isn't it so bali or bosan, even though you're not even an individual anymore, you know? You're not yourself anymore. Everything you do, your whole life revolves around Ibana. Even, I think a lot of our women, young women, entertain it now as well. They have that mentality. No, you can't talk to me like that. Moi, je suis femme mariée. Moi, je suis femme mariée. And it's like, I know, Bala. It's not the end of the world. You understand? You know, I'm not still coming out, she femme mariée. She okay, call bana bon tote. Mana kola ta boy tote. Femme mariée qui femme mariée de l'oni. You know what I mean? No, it's not be told about vérité qui femme mariée de l'oni. You know what I'm trying to say? You can be a femme mariée, but what did you bring to the table? You know? What you brought to the table, is it enough? À part qui femme mariée wana. What, and then what? Or who are you?
People are
exactly. Pour moi, pour moi, ça n'a sens monté, you know. I'm Christelle avant, non, ça Christelle après. You know, I don't want Crystal to just be known as a wife, and that's it. And then you're known as Kara, you know, Mama, Fobota, Il faut. You know, so it's like, I don't understand why it is so important to get married. Like you said, Olga, marriage is a choice.
Yeah.
Let people make that choice freely. But unfortunately, within our culture, being a woman especially, it's like you have no choice. That's the route you have to go. You have to get married. So ko balite oze lorote, ata so ko tanga, ata so na msala bien, ata so so na inda ku yomo ko, ata so za donc oze lorote.
Yeah.
Donc even if you've done all of that, so ko balite, all of that means nothing. Tango bala pe, it still means nothing because you're now attached to your husband.
Yeah.
Which I find is like, it's like a waste of a life, to be honest.
Yeah. No, and you know what, just to add to what you said there, Crystal, I remember after I got married, people weren't calling me by my name anymore. It was like Mama Valentin or Mama Salumu. I'm just like, I'm Genesis. I was born Genesis, and I still am Genesis, you know?
Exactly.
Or it's like Mamaya Amaziah or Mamaya Jesher. I'm just like, call me by my name, you know?
Jen, just to add to what you just said there, even when it comes to like listening to you, like my mom or even just my aunts and uncles, they value my opinion more now that I'm married. But my opinion never changed when I wasn't married. But they just listen. It's like they were hearing me, but they weren't listening. But now because I am madame, now oh yeah, you know, and it's like importance now because na Bali don naza mutu po na Bali. Mais avant naza mutu te. Like it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous.
It's almost like you've reached a new, it's like you've moved into a new category. Do you get me? Before you were a singleton, you know, you were young, free and single. There was nothing about you. But now that you are la femme de quelqu'un, mama yabana and all this, you know, matigrad. Do you get me? So you're now in a new category that they can consider you more and they can respect you more. And your, like you said, your opinions are.
And because of that, a lot of girls, obviously I'm speaking about girls and women because I'm a woman, a lot of women bazo rush for babala because they want that respect, they want that attention, maybe from their family, from their parents. They want balingi bazala calculer na société toloba. They want to bazo we la bala bala pour monikete so balinde ezo pesa poa. Mais that's not the case. It's not the case at all.
Yeah. No, and you know what? I love who says this. I think it's Olga, I think you say this sometimes, that like we have to be careful here. You can't just get into marriage thinking that everything's going to be all rosy and whatever the case is. Your marriage, I'm not saying that marriage is, you know, it's depressing, it's sad. Trust me, your marriage can be lit. I mean, literally.
I was going to say that, yeah, because you know, these people are going to come through and be like, hey, Jenna, the Bible says I suffer.
Oh, your marriage can be lit, right? But you got to work at it. You really have to work at it. It's a partnership. It's not one of those things that you put in 50-50. No, you put in 100 in your marriage. So before you make it that goal, the same way you have that, you know, anything else that you want to achieve, you got to plan for it. You got to organize yourself. You need to prepare yourself for it. So you can't just be going into marriage, zinga boy, and then you're like, oh, wait, hang on a second. This wasn't what I was expecting. Do you get me? So we need to stop putting this pressure on it. We need to stop making it the ultimate goal, like we said, because there's a lot more to life than just marriage.
Exactly. Thank you, ladies. And just to go back to what Jen said, as it says, you know, you can't just go in windy, you know what I mean? So at the end,
sorry,
I said
we have to bring in like all these different foods?
Listen, I said what I said. Take it the way you want to take it, okay? So you have to bear in mind, you know, is you are coming together, right? So you have your partner has you have a man, for example, has a different personality, coming from a different background, and you're coming from a different background, different views and maybe opinions. You might have a common ground, but then you come together. You need to be able to find that balance, that compromise, and it's different when you're dating someone. You might go to their house and you're only spending a few hours with them, but this is 24/7 together. You wake up, they are there, you know, and you have to get used to certain habits and discover different habits. Maybe you realize, actually, this guy snores. I never knew he was snoring. So you have to be prepared for all those things. So, you know, marriage is a good thing, but the same way that we see marriage in a higher esteem is the same way when your child gets a higher grade or they achieve something academically, we should also look at it in a higher standard as well. So it shouldn't just be, okay, so you've studied, you have these degrees, okay, now marriage is the ultimate goal. When do you get married? No, you need to encourage your children, encourage our young people when they are doing well academically or in other areas of their lives as well, and not just pressurizing to say that, you know what I mean, until you get married, marriage is the cherry on top and you need to get to that goal. No, we need to encourage them throughout their lives as well. So that's one thing I just wanted to add to that. Another question I just want to put out there, ladies. Why do you think we have this mentality? And again, it's not just in African culture, it's in a lot of cultures I've also seen from watching documentaries where women are more pressurized into, getting married and feel like, they have to get married and that's the ultimate goal and that's a higher achievement that they can have. And I know Jen touched and said nowadays that men also, are getting pressurized. So what would you say on that? Where is this mentality coming from, Crystal? What would you say?
I think it's just the way life has been set up to view women. It's supposedly what women are good for. We're good for being at home. We're good for having kids. We're good for being submissive to the men. So I think it's just the whole setup of life. Like that's basically where it's coming from. Whereas it shouldn't be that way. And the times have changed. Again, if you're looking back at, say, our grandparents, grandparents, maybe our grandparents, our grandmothers didn't go to school. They couldn't go to work. So that is exactly all they were good for. So now coming down the line, generations, it's expected to keep on going. But the times have changed. There's no way you can tell me that I can't walk. There's no way you can tell me that I'm only good for having kids. I'm only good for, weight and hand and foot on my husband. That's not all I'm good for. So I think, just to kind of answer your question, it's just the way life has it set up. But different cultures have they weigh it different. Our culture, because obviously we're Congolese and African, they weigh it heavier than others because they really do view, they really do believe that a woman
yeah.
So I think it's just
Thank you, Crystal. And Jen, what could you add to that?
I agree with what Crystal said there. It's that a woman, she's best placed when she's in marriage. And I think if I can add to that, why there is so much importance. One thing I had heard, which it made me sad as well to think that there are families and people who think like this, is that, to make sure that a woman is taken care of, a woman is looked after, can only happen when she's married. So like the family have done everything that they can up to a certain point. Now she needs to get married so a man can take care of her and look after her. And that just made me sad, because it's like, for me as a parent, to think that I'm only going to look after my kids up until a certain point and then they become someone else's responsibility. It's like, why did you have kids in the first place if you're just going to offload them to somebody else? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I heard, and I've heard that quite a lot as well, which is really, really sad for the girls. And it puts a lot of pressure on the men, because if you're going to take on the responsibility of somebody else and you can't even take care of yourself, what are you going to do when you have small people who come into the equation? Do you get
exactly?
So it's completely wrong in my viewpoint, and it's sad as well, because I find that if that's the intention that someone is going into marriage with, they end up losing themselves. So as a woman, you go into marriage that I'm going into marriage because this man is going to look after me, he will take care of me, and so on and so forth. But me as a person, you lose yourself, you lose your identity. It's like, I was that before I was married, and now I'm just married. People forget that you can be married, you can be have a great career, you can have your own business, you can be successful, you can travel, you can do all these things. But I just find a lot of women, we just tend to lose our identity, because it's become, marriage is just that goal. So once I'm in through that door, I've gone through that door of marriage, that's it. Everything after that is just like meh. We just keep on going. We don't really make much of an effort, we don't really do much, and it's really, really sad.
Thank you, Genesis, for that. And just like Crystal said, I think it kind of goes back to, let's say, how society was in the time of our grandparents or parents or whatever, and it was a standard that was set out, like, as again, the man go to work, the women get married and they stay home and they have to take care of the children, and they're given more respect just because they are married. So I think it is something that's kind of always been there unconsciously, without us actually realizing that actually that's not right. So why are we accepting this? You know what I mean? So this is the time where we can make those positive changes and change the narratives and change how people view certain things in society, and not just marriage, and say, you know what, just because it was done a certain way doesn't mean that we can't change it if it's not suitable to our time. And again, what Genesis says, it's like when you get married, it's not the end. You know what I mean? Don't let your dreams die. If you have dreams of starting businesses, like Jen said, as a woman, if you have ambitions, don't say because I'm married and that's it. My ultimate goal in life was to get married and that is it. No, don't let your dreams die just because you got married and society's telling you a woman or a wife must act or behave this way or that way. No, so it's something that we kind of need to change in our society as well. So thank you, ladies, for all your comments there. I don't know if it's anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up, Crystal?
Yeah, can I just add as well to that? I don't know. This topic, it just really, really just baffles me how, there is such an emphasis on marriage being that ultimate goal, because I think with that pressure as well, it can push people to marry the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you're under so much pressure, like Crystal said, like, when you're, say, for example, for any girl who's out there and say you're studying and you're in your final year of uni and you're already getting the question, is there somebody there? Is there anyone you have your eye on? Are you going to come present someone? And if you don't have that somebody, and then you're getting that pressure, you'll end up just going to get any random person. And then it's like, oh, this is the person. And then you end up getting married. And then you realize, no, I shouldn't have gotten married to this person, because you realize you don't know them, which is also dangerous as well. Because if you don't spend that time to get to know the person you're about to marry, because we believe marriage is for life. So if you end up with the wrong person, you're going to end up miserable and unhappy in your marriage. And in some cases, you could end up in a very dangerous marriage where there's abuse and all that kind of stuff in there as well. So I think we really need to be careful when we're pushing this marriage being the ultimate goal, because of the implications it can have by making the wrong decisions due to the pressures that people are being put under.
That's a fair point, Genesis. Definitely. What would you say, Crystal?
I think Jen hit the nail on the head there. All I can add is to what Genesis had said earlier, that obviously you have to have 100 and your husband or your partner 100 and bring it in to make a marriage, and that's not saying that you need to have that 100 to begin with. So always remember that you are an individual. Even after you're married, you're still an individual. You can still also be independent while married as well. You understand? So just don't lose that. Don't forget who you are. It doesn't necessarily mean because you're married that's it. That's not it. And those of you that are not married, that are 28 or older, you're still winning. Those of you that are not married, that are working, pursuing a career, a successful career, you're winning. Yeah. Those of you that do not want to get married, you're winning. You're winning regardless. If you are doing what you choose to do in life, if you are doing what you want to do, if you are where you are, if you are where you want to be in life, you're winning. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Well spoken, Crystal. Well spoken. I think the advice I can give is, again, the society, the culture we're from, people just need to refrain from pressurizing people into, and not just marriage, in certain things where it's like, and there's another thing I actually forgot to bring up, and I've kind of been seeing this topic spoken a lot, where it's like, again, come back to my culture, and again, I'm pretty sure it's in a lot of culture, is once a woman hits the age of 30, that's when I feel like the pressure, they put a lot of pressure on you. It's like, hey, when are you getting married? I'm like, bro, when I had a boyfriend, when I was seeing someone, it's like, hey, no, you need to focus on your studies. So people don't know what they want.
You know what you want. Exactly.
They don't know what you want. So you shouldn't always base your life and your choices on what people expect of you, you know, because they'll never be happy. People will always be there to criticize. People will always be there to talk. You know what I mean? So we just need to stop with this pressure. If you want to give someone advice, if you want to give someone something that will help them maybe in the path that they have chosen, by all means go ahead, but don't be there to pressurize them into going into or taking a path that maybe they're not ready. You know, there are people that, again, our lives, our destinies are all different based on what God has prepared for us. You know, we can just say, by this age, I want to get married. By this age, I want to have children. By this age, I want to do this. But then God maybe has other plans for you. So just because you got married at the age of 21, it doesn't mean that I'm going to get married at the same age as you. Maybe for me, God said, okay, you're going to get married at the age of 33. So who are you to come and tell me and give me the pressurize me and saying that when are you getting married? Like, have you looked at your own life? You know what I mean? So why are you coming and pressurizing me something that sometimes we don't have control of? Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? You might say, I've met someone and you're like, oh, this is the love of my life or whatever. And you expect that you will get married, but then things happen and it's out of our control and things don't always go the way we plan, again, because Vina Biso is on our book and Zambia, and all we do is trust in him. So we shouldn't pressurize people. We all have different lives that we live, different paths, different destinies that God has set up for us. So just to be conscious of that, not if you're somebody maybe who does that and you think that you're helping the person, let me tell you today, you are not helping the person at all. You are making the situation just worse. If you want to encourage someone, congratulations, continue. If there's anything that you want me to help you with, that's no problem. I'm here to help you. That's what we want. We want that encouragement in whatever that we are doing, whether it's we want to get married, we're studying, not for you to come and criticize or dismiss our efforts and dismiss, you know, what we are working towards, but for you to encourage us and to support us. So I think we need more of that in our community and just in the world as a whole. So thank you, ladies. I don't know any final thoughts before we wrap up.
No, you kind of hit it all. You really have.
Just take your time, people. Take your time. Whether it's career chasing, whether it's man chasing, just take your time so you can make the right decision in all aspects. Take your time.
Yeah. And marriage is not the ultimate goal.
No, it is not. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for another episode of Melanin Meetings. As usual, please leave your comments below. Tell us what you think. Tell us, you know, if you've had any experiences of maybe a pressure from society, from family, in terms of pushing you into this idea of marriage being the ultimate goal. Please let us know in the comment box below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.